Most heartfelt greetings and salutations, theydies and gentlethems. I eagerly welcome you to Sturgeon's most premier station, Dusklight Radio, hosted by yours truly, the incorporeal, infinitesimal, iridescent Everett J. Blackwell. Perhaps you know of us Blackwells. We were involved in the financing project behind Send Your Boss into the Abyss Day. We decided that too many folks were working long, low-pay hours in the factories, feeding the Abyss Walkers or cultivating harvests for the Sturgeon Farmers Collective, and so we sided with the anarchists and minuses. That's a group of people who have a minus wealth in the billions. Don't ask me how that works. And funded a dark web endeavor to get bosses away from their grateful employees for a day by sending them into the abyss. Now, we say a day, but that's relative to the abyss time. I mean, who knows how long it actually is? 6 minutes? 400 hours? 27 years? Countless aeons passing in the blink of an eye? A day? Time for them to find out, I say. But either way, those bosses will come back with a newfound appreciation for their workers to help look after them and give them adequate pay and utilities for their services. Or at least we hope. And likely a wealth of information on what lays beyond the veil, waiting for us all when we finally pass on and give our bodies to the earth and the unknowable blackness. I'd be lying if I said that we Blackwells, particularly Uncle Professor Heinrich von Blackwell and his study into the strange dimensional worlds we live side by side with, didn't have an ulterior motive for our endeavors. I can only hope the cost was worth it. Anyway, I'm Dusklight's main and most fabulous half-dead host. My job at this fine radio station is to bring you some of the most twisted, interesting, and downright bizarre tales that I and my wonderful many-legged runners collect from the far corners of Sturgeon and beyond. Some of them will make you laugh, some will make you cry, and some of you will decide to seek out a bar in between spaces. See, in Sturgeon, there's a bustling entertainment district that houses a vice for almost every occasion. Drugs beyond your wildest dreams, parlors catering to all manner of enjoyments, the eponymous hotel inertia that houses entire realities on every floor, more on that another day, the underground nightmare fighting pit, and a bar that shows up to the lost, destitute, and broken when they are in need or about to make a key choice in their lives. A friendly barman will greet you, offer you a strange concoction in exchange for your story, and he'll tell you what you need and, on his recommendation, should you take the drink, your path may change. Listeners, we are about to visit that bar and understand one of Sturgeon's great adventures, as told by T.J. Lee, who feverishly recorded this with a slew of cast members while he was consuming liquefied purple crayons. These will be released episodically soon, with a full-length version coming at the end of it for all of you binge-happy listeners who need our airwaves to attain that higher level of awareness, and to keep the bug people off your frequency. We understand your privacy. Stay tuned for more information on the spaces in between, coming soon to Dusklight Radio. It's time for our next story of this evening. This tale, titled I'm Not Really Sure What to Call This, is by one of our runners' favorite writers to pursue, New to Town Jam. If you are a NoSleep reader, you will know her for her many fascinating tales about Sturgeon's neighbor in town. The Tendency Survival Guide, The Pickled Gnome, and The Dentist for Monsters are all absolute classics, and we'd encourage you to peruse her vast library over at r/The Pickled Gnome, linked below. The runners are obsessed with her. Perhaps it's the pheromones in the air. Even if she devours everyone she comes into contact with, they still keep going like lemmings. She's much like an alligator, just with much, much bigger jaws. She loves thrashing them in the black water and making the others watch as a power play before slinking into the depths to feast quietly. She's a great conversationalist if you meet her when she's not hungry, or molten. Special thanks must be given first to Mandy Mo for rendering yours truly in the beauteous image you see when you look at our page. And next, Dusklight bows at the altar of Trevor Henderson, the man behind Siren Head, for allowing Dusklight to use some of the images he's captured of various abominations. Our cast today features the Purple Prince of Perpetual Pestilence, T.J. Lee, all hail his janitorial wisdom. And of course, lest we forget, some of the music you hear in our videos is provided by the Dark Somnium with gracious thanks. With that, the sun has set and dusk has crawled into the studio once more. Whether you're working, prepping to sleep, or evading the formless void that will one day consume us all, Blackwell is here to soothe your ears and captivate your soul. Now, close your eyes and take a deep breath. The scene has been set and the light is on. It's time to walk towards it.
I don't really know how to start this. I've never been great at beginnings. Beginnings are just the precursor to the shit, aren't they? The heartbreak that sullies the romance, the conflict that laces the comedy, and the monster that lurks in the cupboard of the horror. I feel like yesterday was the beginning of my very own horror story. I don't really know how to start this, so I suppose I'll start with the book. The little black one. Tattered and torn, that fits neatly inside an envelope and through my broken letterbox. The little black book that contained the scrawlings of a man so broken, he made my letterbox seem brand new. I don't really know how to start this, so I'm going to let him speak for himself. I'm going to transcribe his story verbatim, as best I can below. Then I'm going to need a favour. One I can't even begin to quantify right now. Day 1. I'm not sure what's happening to me. I've been doing a lot of drugs lately and I was starting to feel pretty gross. You know, you've hit a low when you know yourself you've got a problem. All the parties weren't doing it for me anymore. Was tired. My wife was starting to resent me. I'm not sure she trusted me on nights out. To be honest, I don't know if I trusted myself. When I was in that place, I didn't care about anything. The doctor wanted to give me drugs. Ironic, isn't it? Drugs to cure my problem with drugs. I had to laugh at that. I didn't accept them, instead trying to go it alone. I went cold turkey and I was going okay, but man, that shit was hard. It was like I couldn't breathe. So I signed up for a spiritual retreat. I'd never been one for these type of places, but I thought maybe it would force me to really recover. A good old-fashioned dose of wilderness and nature to help me on my way, so I could be a better husband, a better dad, a better person. I really wanted this to work. I still do. I even bought this damn notebook so I could write anything useful. It looked nice when I turned up. A log cabin surrounded by tents in a field. Some guy who told me his name was Doug greeted me. He was wearing sandals and a white linen shirt. He took all my electronics and belongings and led me into the cabin. He told me I was the first to arrive and should settle in. That was 6 hours ago now. There's 8 hammocks in this cabin and not a single other person has arrived. After the first 2 hours, I tried to take a walk outside, see if I could find Doug or any evening activities. And the door was locked. I've been shouting for a while, but no one's come. I hope this is some kind of prank or maybe a type of homeopathic spiritual initiation. Do hippies do that? Do they lock you in for isolation before they help you reach enlightenment? Who knows? I wouldn't be so worried if Doug hadn't taken my phone. If I had that, I could have called someone. I'm sure it's nothing. The door will open soon. It has to. I've got a bad feeling though. A real bad one. Day 2. It took him 15 hours to open the door. I'd arrived in the late afternoon, but she arrived in the early morning. They only opened the door long enough to put her in. I could see Doug's sandals just as it closed behind her. She didn't believe me when I told her I'd been locked in. She thought I was joking. It must have been quite comforting for her to see another person in the cabin. I know I'd have been comforted by that too. She wasn't so comfortable when she realised the door was locked though. She screamed for quite a while, attacking me. Thought I had something to do with this shit. She calmed down after a few hours, realising I wasn't going to hurt her. Told me her name was Alex. and she's an investment banker who wanted to get away from the stress for a while. Alex mentioned that she was thirsty, and I hadn't noticed the lack of water until she said it. I've been in this cabin for more than 24 hours now. I don't know the exact time, but I see the sun rise and fall through the window. I've tried to open it, but it's locked too. I'm so thirsty. Day 3. I tried to smash the window today. I tried so hard, but it's like it isn't made of glass. I was ready for the shards stuck in my flesh, piercing my veins, but no matter how hard I hit it, it just wouldn't break. Alex told me to stop. Said it was useless. I don't know if it's the dehydration or the confusion or the fucking paranoia, but I'm not sure I trust her. Why didn't she want to break the window too? Why did she give up so fucking easily? The door opened again. I tried to ambush whoever was on the other side, but they were too fast. They forced him in with a bag of items strapped to him. Some water and a few packs of sliced fucking cheese. I haven't eaten in 3 days and that's all we have. I didn't bother to ask his name. I couldn't. I just want out of this fucking cabin. Day 4. His name is Melvin, and he's a carpenter. He didn't sign up for the retreat. He accepted a job working on the wooden structure. Doug was going to show him the inside beams, and that's when he pushed him in. Melvin doesn't remember how the bag got strapped to him. I don't trust him. I don't trust Alex either. I don't trust anyone. I'm having a tough day today. I've spent it searching the cabin for exits, but I can't find a single weak point. It looked like a quaint little shack on the way in, but this thing is a goddamn fortress. Once I realised the only way out was the door, I waited. Waited for whatever poor, unfortunate idiot was going to come through it next, and prepared for battle. I was not expecting a kid. The sight of the young boy being thrown through the gap was enough to throw me off course, and I missed my opening. I missed my chance to escape. I missed my own son. He's the main reason I came to this place to begin with. Billy says his mum was supposed to be here, but she isn't. He stole his babysitter's credit card and used it to get a taxi to the address on the leaflet she left behind. He said he's sick of being abandoned for these things, and he wanted to confront his mother about it. He's smart for a 12-year-old. He had more water strapped to him, and a packet of raw broccoli. We're all starting to get real hungry, and Melvin and Alex have been at each other's throats all day. I won't lie, I'm getting quite scared, and I won't pretend I wouldn't kill for a line of coke given the chance. I'm beginning to really notice its absence. Day 5. It happened. Fuck. Melvin and Alex got into an argument. I've tried to keep out the way, but Melvin noticed their lack of fight too. She was just so defeated. I'm not sure she deserved what she got though. He got so angry, accusing her of being behind this whole thing. She dealt the first blow, but he hit her so hard, and there was so much blood. She stopped screaming back. I sat with Billy in the back facing the wooden wall, but still no one's come to the door. Melvin just keeps repeating that he's sorry, and Billy won't stop crying. She's fucking dead. He killed her. Day 5 again. With the death of Alex and the atmosphere in the cabin, I didn't notice we hadn't received a new roommate until one was thrown through the door at almost midnight. She didn't have a bag strapped to her like I'd hoped. Instead she came much worse. Taped to her was a meat cleaver, a lighter, and kindling. Melvin was still near catatonic, and his eyes made the connection my brain had failed to. He looked at the cleaver, and back at Alex's decaying corpse on the floor, and he threw up. The new girl's name is Lily. She's a pretty young thing who just wanted to do some yoga in nature. She was horrified, but tried to immediately assimilate into a homemaker role. She's taken Billy under her wing, even got him to crack a smile over the fact their names rhyme. I'm glad. I was struggling with the responsibility. It's been 5 sunsets and I'm getting real itchy now. I don't think I'm the best person to be watching a kid. Oh, I wish they'd take Alex away. It's awful to say this, but I'm so hungry and there's only a limited time before meat rots beyond repair. I try to avoid it, but I keep coming back to the cleaver. Day 6. The walls are solid too. I tried to hack through them with the cleaver, but they're indestructible, just like the window. I've watched the view outside long enough now to notice it's artificial. Whatever I'm looking at isn't even a window. It's an image. The same one of the same field and the same tents every hellish day. The weather doesn't change either, and neither does a single blade of grass. Maybe more time has passed than I think. Maybe less. No one passes the window before the door opens either. No footsteps can be heard, and there's no forewarning noise of a key in a lock. Just out of nowhere it opens and another person is added to our miserable existence. Today it was another man. He reminds me of me. He said his name is Chris, and he has kids too. He wanted to get away to become a better person for him. He's tried to hack at the walls too. Told him it was useless, but I can't blame him for trying. Chris seems like a nice guy. Alex is starting to rot. The cabin is filled with an unbearable stench of death, and despite the seemingly impenetrable walls and windows, the flies have managed to get in. I took a peek earlier and the maggots have gotten to her. It's a gruesome sight. I tried to shout for someone to pick her up, but no one came. I didn't expect them to anyway. I'm considering taking that cleaver and using it on myself, but poor Billy's seen enough. The new girl is really protective of him. She covered Alex's face up with the large jacket she was wearing to try and stop Billy seeing too much. It's a nice sentiment, but a bit late. Melvin isn't doing too well. He don't interact with anyone, and the only word we get out of him is sorry. He's refusing any of the water rations or last pieces of broccoli. He won't last long if he continues. None of us will. Day 7. Get him out. Get him out. Get him out. They're all dead. All of them. Lily, Billy, Chris, Melvin. Am I dead too? Am I dead too? Day 8. No one's dead. Or maybe they all are. Maybe I am too. I could see the writing in this notebook, but can you? I don't know who you are. I don't know what happens to this after all this is over. Chris smuggled in some cocaine. He shared it with me, but it was a big mistake. I don't think it was cocaine at all. Not long after we took it, Alex got up. She got up and she tried to dance with Billy. I tried to stop her, but every time I touched her, a part of my hand would rot. Billy rotted too, and so did Lily when she tried to save him. I looked over to the corner and Melvin then shriveled already in the fetal position he'd stayed in for days. There was nothing we could do for him. I sat in a corner and waited for me and Chris to die. Except Chris wasn't there. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm Chris. They threw a new girl through the door as I sat amongst the bodies. I don't know what happened, but she's dead now. She came with bottles of water. How long do they expect us to be here? Who the fuck is Doug, and what the fuck is this place? I lied when I said no one was dead. She is. And I'm living with an awful feeling that it was my fault. She didn't wake up when the drugs wore off and everyone else did. I never got her name. Not before Melvin hacked off her foot and lit the kindling. I don't know her real name, but I know what Billy called her. He was so hungry he still took a bite as he realised his mummy had finally made the retreat. Day 10. Doug opened the door today. He opened the door and I walked out. Just me. Me alone. I don't know what happened to the others. I don't know what happened to Billy. I don't know what happened to me. There were no tents outside. No field. Just a long road. And I'm still on it. There's a sycamore tree that I pass every 30 steps. I count them. I want to go home. Home to my family. But I don't remember my own name, and no one else is on this road. I don't know how much time has passed, but I'm setting this diary underneath the sycamore tree. I don't need it anymore. No one will ever read it, and I have no thoughts left. If there's ever a you, ever a person reading these pages, then please tell my son I love him. I don't remember his name either. I really don't know how to end this. I don't really understand what I've read or what I should do with the information. The page containing day 9 was notably ripped from the little black book. And the handwriting. My brother's handwriting inside didn't match the neater, almost calligraphic letters on the envelope. When Chris went missing, we all thought he'd just taken too much. None of us ever considered that he'd gone away to better himself. When his wife Alex went missing too, we all thought she'd gotten depressed and wandered off. I wonder how badly dehydrated he had to be to see himself as someone else like that. I wonder if any of those other people existed at all. Was Alex just a coincidence? I really don't know how to end this. Do I go to the police? Or do I go to the address on the leaflet for the yoga retreat that was enclosed along with the black book? Or do I carry on driving around and search for sycamore tree on an empty road? Will day 9 bring me any satisfying answers? Do I just follow my brother aimlessly in the hope that he's still wandering somewhere? Or do I hunt down the fucker who posted me this book? I really don't know how to end this. But I know I have to tell my nephew Billy something. He looked up to his dad. He misses him every day. I want him to know that he loved him. So that favor I need, the one I mentioned at the beginning, does anyone know how I end this? I wish I had advice for our unfortunate sibling above, but sometimes when a story ends, it's best to just let the path continue to wind on its own. We are all putting one foot in front of the other on a winding path that, while appearing mundane on the surface, is more akin to a Mobius strip if we get too lost, too bogged down in the details, or when we stray from the path. But rest assured, we all find our own way, eventually. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of our other transmissions. We're editing them regularly, and we'd love to have you as part of the Dusklight family by subscribing, hitting the bell of foreboding, it's just a normal bell, but adding stuff like that is nice, and leave a comment with stories you'd love for my many-legged runners to find. Dusklight Radio now has a Twitter account, and we're hoping to put unusual lore and use it for community interaction while we continue our journey to get monetized, though we are rather forgetful. Please consider checking us out over on Dusklight Radio, where we may even talk about projects in advance. Dedication needs to be rewarded, and we thank more and more of our loyal listeners for joining these premieres each and every time. This time we give thanks to Wet, Viola Pro, Lady Nevermore, happy belated birthday by the way, Ryan Kettles, Baron Von Pasta, Amy S, Tyler Olson, Blue Sharpie, Other Unit, New Order of Alexandria, Rain Lord, Steven Stevens, Jason and Gamma, our terrifying twosome at every premiere, and Penny Tails Up for giving us their valuable time. I love seeing the Dusklight family grow, let me tell you. Want to get a shout out? Be sure to join our premieres or leave a comment below, and I'll do my darndest to find the ones and the people that stand out. I hope we can continue this forward growth and spread our spores to the far corners of YouTube, infecting the airwaves with our intoxicating presence. 500 is done. How long to 1,000? And one last time, listeners, close your eyes and breathe with me. Remember, no matter how bad things are, how cruel people can be, and how heavy your shoulders may feel with the weight of the world bearing down on them, Dusklight will always be here to lift the load and provide you with some respite. Drink some water, watch a video about emperor penguins, eat something spicy, and sleep on the cool side of the pillow with the window open and the stars twinkling down upon you. Start and end each day with kindness in your heart, a reminder to be better today than you were yesterday. You matter, you are loved, and every day is another chance. I'll see you again when the sun sets and dusk enters the station.